Hi, I'm Walter Bond, and you're listening to A Shark's Perspective.
Welcome back and thank you for joining A Shark's Perspective. I'm Kenneth Kinney, but friends call me Shark. I am a keynote speaker, a strategist, a shark diver, host of this show, and your chief shark officer. If you listen to this show often at all, or if you've ever been to my website, then you know how much sharks in the ocean have meant to me my entire life. I was supposed to go shark diving one morning in Florida, but because of scheduling, the trip got moved to the afternoon. So that morning I went back to the corporate event where I had a chance to catch a speaker where we both spoke. He spoke day one, I spoke day two. And one of his books really resonated with me because I also frequently speak about what we call a shark mindset. So what can sharks teach you about business and life, as well as your environment and the ocean around you? We both have plenty of fish tales, if you will, and here's one to keep you swimming forward towards success. Walter Bond is a former NBA player, a Hall of Fame speaker, a business coach, and the author of Swim, How a Shark, a Suckerfish, and a Parasite Teach You Leadership, Mentoring, and Next Level Success. And on this episode, we will discuss playing in the NBA and the transition to speaking, a fishtail of a book and the story of Paul and Scotty, and in all caps, Swim, the Sacred Six, mentoring and coaching, peak performance, moving forward, being curious, sharks in their environment, Michael and LeBron, game-winning shots and keynotes, subs in the 99, Mavs, Jazz and Pistons, and a lot more. So let's tune into a motivational speaker with yours truly, a motivational shark, on this episode of A Shark's Perspective. Walter, welcome to A Shark's Perspective. Tell us a little bit, if you will, about your background and your career to date, please.
Easy, in a previous life, a couple of pounds ago, I played in the NBA. Got a chance to play for the Dallas Mavericks, Utah Jazz, Detroit Pistons, played in Italy, Greece, and Germany, and got a chance to become an elite basketball player in the NBA. And the good news is it really gave me research on how to be elite, and it applies to other things other than sports. So right now, my wife and I launched a training and development company 22 years ago. I'm a Hall of Fame motivational speaker. She's our top business coach. And we really go around the world teaching companies, leaders, executives, employees, the fundamentals of how to become elite. And so, short and long answer, former NBA ball player. Now I'm a Hall of Fame speaker teaching people how to never be average and play in their own personal NBA.
Outstanding. Well, I knew a little bit about you beforehand, but got a chance to meet you because my diving trip changed from morning to afternoon. You keynoted day one, and I was on day two, but I enjoyed your presentation a lot. Was lucky enough to see that and also get a copy to read your book, Swim, How a Shark, a Suckerfish, and a Parasite Teach You Leadership, Mentoring, and Next Level Success, which was obviously catnip for me, for a guy nicknamed Shark. It's not the metaphor, though, that I would have envisioned for a former NBA player to write, but it's a great fishtail. Why swimming in fish? Why a shark, parasite? And I ask this as a fan and someone who literally swims with sharks.
It was organic, right? And so, one of the things I teach people is that don't ever decide a career before you discover your gift. And as a young age, I was just bigger and better in sports than all my friends. And it was just just a natural gift, right? And so when I left sports, I needed to make money. And I discovered another gift that I'm a really good speaker, but I'm also creative and innovative. And so one day I went fishing and not even thinking, just a regular day. And I caught this little bitty fish. And I'm a Midwest guy, right? And we have lakes. And I'm in the ocean and I catch this little bitty weak fish. And my thought was, this weak fish can't make it in a lake. How in the heck does it make it in the ocean? And this is what the captain said. He says, Walter, it's a sucker fish and it's waiting for a shark to come by. And it just hit me different, man. And then he took the fish and stuck it on top of the boat. And the suction on the top of the sucker fish defied gravity, right? And I came home and I did research on the shark and the suckerfish and learned about their symbiotic relationship. And I thought about coaching and mentorship. And I was like, man, you know what? I've been a suckerfish my whole life, connected to great coaches. And I just started thinking, and so we created something special that's really helping people. And people love the book. It's a great story, but it really teaches solid fundamentals of how to be successful. So we have in it what we call the Sacred Six, very similar to the Seven Habits that Stephen Covey made famous through his book. So the Sacred Six is very important from a personal development standpoint, but we also taught the power of coaching and the power of leadership. So the book is really special because it can help an individual who is just a professional, and it can really help business leaders or any type of leader really learn how to be a more impactful leader. And so we wrote the book with two different purposes. And honestly, from everything we're hearing from our customers and clients and fans, we nailed it, right? And
Hmm.
so we're really excited about it.
Well, describe the story of the book a little bit, with a little bit about Paul and Scotty as well.
There was a young man, um, Scotty, who came from a troubled home, and he got in trouble, right? Like most kids, no support at home, kind of running the streets. Dad was an alcoholic, got in trouble, and the judge gave him a choice. Either you can go to this juvenile detention center, or basically, I'm going to send you to the Boys and Girls Club as an intervention. And no brainer there, right? He chose the Boys and Girls Club. And when Scotty got there, he met a guy who became his mentor, and the rest is history, right? So the big lesson there is that we all need support. We all need mentorship. It wasn't Scotty's fault that he came from a broken home. He luckily, after getting in trouble, stumbled into a great opportunity. And that's the backdrop of the story. I wrote the book when I was on the board of the Boys and Girls Club of Broward County. And so that was why I wanted to write a book where the star of the book was a Boys and Girls Club kid, which is awesome. So we're excited about what we're going to do through the Boys and Girls Club with the book. But Scotty and Paul were friends, and Paul was kind of like the frat guy, clean cut, all American, and he just always had this screw up friend. So they separate for 30 years, and Paul has no idea how Scotty's life is gone. He just assumed that Scotty's still kind of screwing up, and has no idea that he really got connected to an amazing mentor. They get together 30 years later, and honestly, there's some magic that happens on the boat. So that's kind of like the backdrop of the story. And Drew was Scotty's mentor and really coached him up. And I don't want to give too much away because I want people to read the book, but
No, it's well worth the read. People got to buy it and dive in. Better character for you to write about as an author, Paul or Scotty? Did you see yourself more as the mentor or as the mentee?
you know, in my life, a little bit of both, right? And so, life is situational. There's a lot of times in my life now that I'm the mentor, and I'm the coach, but I still have a coach. I have a business coach, right? And so, the whole metaphor of the shark and the suckerfish is a fluid word. Sometimes in the day, I'm the shark. Sometimes in the day, I'm the suckerfish. And I'll give you a real vivid example. My biggest client is Jersey Mike Subs. We fly into Detroit, founder Peter Cancro, obviously very wealthy. And we had a meeting with Tom Monahan, the founder of Domino's Pizza, who's his mentor. And we were leaving the meeting, and I said, Peter, Tom is your shark and you're the suckerfish. And he just laughed because he had bought everybody at Jersey Mike's, the book Swim. It's like a part of their culture now. And he hadn't really thought about it. And I was like, yeah, you know what? He is. He's my mentor. And so here it is, this very successful business guy has 2,500 locations, but man, his mentor is the founder of Domino's Pizza. So I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you make. We all need a mentor, right? We all need an advisor. And I learned that in sports, that the coach's job is to make you better. And the biggest mistake we make sometimes is we try and go and do life by ourselves and not get help. And that's when we really underachieve because mentorship is foundational to success.
Well, a lot of people too, where they get a little bit of gray hair or start losing their hair, they think that gives them more wisdom. And it should teach you that you got to keep learning as much or more than anything. But we're going to get to the Sacred Six shortly, but there are a couple of key quotes that I wanted to point out and ask you to elaborate on briefly. They were some of my favorites. And I saw you talk about these on stage as well. Sharks don't just swim, they in all caps swim. Elaborate on that. What you mean by that?
Well, it's really about how you move, right? And sharks move with purpose, and they don't waste a lot of energy doing dumb stuff. They don't waste a lot of energy doing things that don't really benefit them. If you really think about the world we live in, hopefully everyone listening right now is like, you know what? You can't waste time, right, doing dumb stuff. And the truth is we all get 24 hours a day. Time does not discriminate. And so what a shark does in that 24 hours is way more effective than that red snapper or the yellowtail tuna, whatever's in that sea. Sharks move differently. And that's the message that I have for anyone in our coaching programs, for example, our masterminds. We have something called Peak Performance Huddle. All we're doing is teaching people how to move differently. So if you're an employee and you want to be a manager, hell, why not? Managers make more money. Let's move differently and move like a manager. Oh, you want to be a VP? Okay, let's go figure out how VPs move. And how can we get you to move differently, just like a V? Oh, you want to be the CEO? Hey, they're human, okay? How can we get you moving differently, right? Until you become a CEO. I had to move like an NBA ball player. I mean, really, I can't fake it. You can't sneak into the NBA. You got to be legit, right? And so I had to learn how to move like an NBA ball player. So not when I say sharks don't swim, they swim. That's just letting people know that, man, sharks run the ocean simply because they move different than any other fish. And anytime you find someone like the neighborhood I live in, we have 6 billionaires in this neighborhood. Those 6 men move differently than everybody else. Tons of successful people here, right? Everyone in my neighborhood is successful, but it's 6 billionaires. Now think about that, billionaire. So they're moving different, right? And if I can figure out how they move, man, I'll be a billionaire too, right? And so that's why I live here, because I want to observe and figure out how are you making moves to become a billionaire.
Another quote, Drew told me that sharks respect the ocean and the ocean respects them. They don't kill any and everything. They're curious and investigate everything before they strike. I love that quote because I often talk about curiosity, but elaborate the way you think about curiosity.
You have to respect your environment, right? You have to respect opportunities. You have to be aware of an opportunity. You have to be aware of your environment. And a lot of times people don't, they just get up and live and work and have no strategy, not really understanding how to take advantage of an opportunity in a positive way, right? So if you really think about it, all God is going to do for us is give us an opportunity. And the rest is on us to take full advantage of the opportunity. We all have blown opportunities. And but the truth is successful people take advantage of opportunities. They're looking for opportunities. They see opportunities. They respect opportunities, and they maximize opportunities. So it's a whole ecosystem, we built around the Sacred Six and Shark Mindset theory. But man, we have thousands and thousands of people moving differently because they made themselves available to be coached, mentored. And I tell you what, my coaches helped me become an NBA ball player, and they taught me how to move like an NBA ball player. That's what they got paid to do. That was their job, right? To develop me. And that's why we take it very seriously here to help professionals of all levels learn how to move differently so that they can be successful. And obviously, we use the shark and the suckerfish as a metaphor, but we talk about real stuff, man. We talk about real life dynamics and situations and how we should handle them. And if we handle our situations and our opportunities effectively, that's when we get successful.
Well, at a high level, then talk a little bit, if you will, about what the Sacred Six lessons are.
Okay, so we took all of the characteristics of a shark that are really cool and we humanized it, right? In a way that, man, you know what? If you do these 6 moves, if you operate like this sacred six influences you to do, you're going to be more successful. I don't care who you are. I don't care how successful you are. If you can move in all 6 of these sacred ways, you're going to be more impactful. If you think about sacred, that means it's very, very, very valuable when something's sacred. So here's the first one. Sharks never stop moving forward or they die. Just think about that. Sharks are in constant motion. There's a lot of ways we spin that. Sharks are relentless. Okay. Sharks are hard workers. Okay. Sharks are consistent. Sharks outwork everybody else, right? Sharks are always making progress. If they stop moving, they stop breathing. Think about that. If they stop moving, they suffocate. And that's a great metaphor for all of us. I don't care if you work in a corporate environment. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur. You got to have that shark mindset and say, you know what? Sharks never stop moving forward or they die. So what happens if you get fired? You know what? I'm a shark. I got to keep moving. Divorce, I got to keep moving. Bankruptcy, don't matter. I'm a shark. I got to keep moving. When my NBA career was over, you know what? I got to keep moving. At 54 right now, I make more money now than when I played in the NBA. A lot of my friends who played in the NBA with me don't. Why they stop moving? And they're sitting there like a 54-year-old former ball player when nobody wants a 54-year-old NBA ball player. You're
Right.
done. And so when my career was over, my wife and I were able to keep it moving. We left sports, we got right into business, and the rest is history. Why? Because we move different. We're sharks. We don't sit around and gloat and complain and wonder and philosophize on who's better, LeBron or Michael. Who cares? They're both amazing. We kept it moving because that's what sharks do. Sharks only look up; they never look down, which means sharks are incredibly positive. You know as well as I do, you swim with sharks. When you're beneath the shark, they don't even notice you. Right? They don't even care, right? You're beneath me. I'm looking above me. I'm looking in front of me. I'm definitely not looking below me. And think about how many people are crippled by their past. They keep looking at it. They keep talking about it. They keep agonizing about something that happened 3 years ago or 5 years ago. You hear all the time, man, I was doing good and then my mom died. Oh man, life was great. Then I got divorced. Well, okay. What? That shouldn't stop you. People die, right? That's just a fact of life. People die, right? People get divorced. People file bankruptcy. But look, there's so much good out here in this world. If you really, really take time and take inventory of your life, there's way more positive things going on than negative. But if you choose to focus and lock in on negative stuff, of course you're going to be depressed. If you lock in on negative stuff, of course you're going to be discouraged. If all you do is look at your problem, look at your past, look at your situation, and play it over and over in your brain like a broken record, of course. Sharks only look up. They never look down. I remember getting cut off NBA teams. And as soon as I got cut, I was like, man, they're crazy, man. I was better than that dude. Whatever. Let's keep it moving. And that was the mindset that really you have to have, right? And so when basketball's over, cool. I'm gonna make more money in business. Let's go. Right. And so we've always been optimistic, right? 3, sharks are curious and always learning. Sharks don't want to eat us. They bite us because they're curious. And we love Krispy Kreme donuts and we love French fries. So sometimes they can't tell us from a turtle.
Sure.
But their curiosity is overwhelming and they can't help it. The only way we can get smarter is by being curious. If you're not curious about leadership, you're not going to get smart. If you're not curious about culture, you're not going to get smarter. If you're not curious about selling more, whatever business you're in, you got to be curious. You got to become curious, and that drives the hunger to learn. And so that's why we really teach that. So sharks never stop moving forward. Sharks are positive. They always look up. Sharks are curious and always learning. 4, sharks recognize other sharks, but they also respect their environment. Sharks don't live to eat, they eat to live. Of course they eat fish, but they're not just blatant murderers. It's a fact of life that I gotta eat you or I'm gonna die. It is what it is. But if they know that we're inhuman, they're not going to eat us. Why? Because that's not what they want. So sharks are very respectful of their environment, but they also recognize another shark, right? And so to me, that's important in your industry. Who are the stars in your industry? We always talk about music and sports and movies. We always know those stars. But your industry has a star. I don't care if you're a podcaster, who's a star? I don't care if you're in sales. Who's a star? You're in franchising? Well, okay, well, who's the star in franchising? And I tell all of our people in our coaching programs, our masterminds, everything we do, don't you stop until you're a household name in your industry. They look at me like, don't you stop until you become a household name in your industry. Why? Because it's important. When we see a great white shark in the water, it's like, man, there's a great white shark. We see them, we recognize them, or a whale. Like, man, there's a whale shark. Oh my, you know what? If we see LeBron, we go, oh my God, it's LeBron, right? It is what it is. And so sharks grow about a foot a year. And if we keep growing just like a shark, maybe you don't become a household name in your entire industry, but maybe you become a star in your company, right? Maybe you become a star in your region. Bottom line is this: sharks got it all, man. And that's why we wrote the book Swim, to really teach people why they run the ocean and how they run the ocean. And if we operate like a shark, we're going to run our environment too. So they recognize other sharks, but they also respect their environment. Here's a couple more that are fantastic. Sharks are made of cartilage, which means they're flexible. How many people have you met, Kenneth, that just says, this is just how I am? What? You're 18 years old. That's just how you are. You don't have any expectation to grow, mature, change, learn from your mistakes. You just gotta love me for me. Oh, I'm gonna love you for you, but I love you enough not to let you say the same.
Yeah,
The
that's what they
truth
tell
is, we should
themselves
be.
on social media.
Well, the truth is, we should be constantly growing, constantly improving. And here's what people don't understand. Let me be honest about this. Adversity. Adversity is designed to increase our value. How we respond to adversity is everything. If we respond to adversity the right way, we're going to increase our value because it's going to force us to change, pivot, shift. So I'm going to ask everybody listening, what do you need to change right now that could be transformational for your life? What pivot do you need to make? That could be a game changer for you. And I'll give you one example. I had a guy in my coaching program. He heard me speak. He bought our coaching program like you saw it at the live event. And he was like, you know what? I don't feel respected by my boss. He was in the insurance industry. I said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start publishing articles. Whatever pisses you off in your industry, just start writing articles. One a month. One article a month, posted on LinkedIn. A year later, he got an offer that doubled his salary. He got a country club membership, car allowance. He called me back and says, oh my God, you don't believe just what happened. In 12 months, we helped him change his whole personal brand and his whole value. But most importantly, he pivoted and shifted, and it had tremendous impact. So we're able to customize things for all of our coaching clients. Who wouldn't want to double their salary? I mean, come on, in 12 months. So think about it. You could stay the same. In 12 months from now, your life's going to be the same. Or maybe you can get a coach, you can go join a coaching program, make the right adjustments based on your coach's advice. And 12 months from now, you could be a totally different person, making totally different money, totally different responsibility, totally different levels of respect. See, I'm an athlete. You only have 4 years in college to make it to the league. So I had to transform in 48 months. 40. The clock is ticking. I got to get stronger. I got to sculpt my body. I got to get my jump shot. I got 48 months to become elite. And so what we did with this guy in 12 months was transformational. But he was able to pivot because sharks are made of cartilage. Finally, success is a team sport. And sharks understand that their job is to elevate the suckerfish. What does that mean? You can't be so focused on your success that you don't mentor other people. You know what? Sometimes we can get so selfish, right? I need a mentor. I need a mentor. I need a mentor. Okay, got it. But who are you mentoring, right? Remember, the book is about a shark, a suckerfish, and a parasite. The parasite takes and never gives. And so, ironically, the same coaching client is an executive now and just hired me to speak for his new company. He didn't have to ask anybody. It was his decision. It was his call. So think about that, Kenneth. I met the guy. He was a devalued, frustrated employee. About 6 years later, he's an executive with the authority to make the call and hire me and bring me in. And he brought me in with confidence because he sold them on the impact that I had in his life. And it all happened relatively quickly if you really think about it, right? So, the whole shark mindset has really helped a lot of people because they're going to get progress. And we start with your mind first. It's a part of our personal development formula, if you will. And the mindset is the first thing that we work on. We teach accountability. We teach teamwork. We got a whole system. But the first thing we do is that we got to work on that mind. If you don't think right, it's going to be impossible to be successful. So once we get a person thinking right, we take them through the other fundamentals. And when we spit them out, the gauntlet, on the other end, they're going to be a totally different person and a whole lot more valuable. But we always start with the mindset.
Well, I love books like this that are fables and tales and parables as opposed to boring stories or things that put a lot of mid-level leaders who tell their stories and it puts you to sleep. So kudos to you for writing it this way. I thoroughly enjoyed it. As a Hall of Fame speaker, what is it that you want people to think, feel, or remember after watching you speak at a conference or an event?
Here's what's weird, Kenneth. For a long time in my speaking business, I kind of bragged about me, and it was like after a while, it's like, yuck. Because people are looking at you like, wait a minute, you played in the NBA, good for you, but help me, right? And so now I get to brag about other people, like our insurance client. I got another guy named Mookie Golden. Check this out. He worked at a Jersey Mike's, got fired, just making subs, got fired. Wouldn't got his mindset right. Now he owns 15 locations. He went from being a fired employee to now he's one of the star franchisees in the whole entire system. Same guy, different mindset. And so when he heard me speak the first time, he came down to the stage. He just looked at me. He didn't say a word. He just looked at me. And there was just some spiritual connection there. Mookie's like my little brother. He bought copies of Swim for his entire staff. And you can't work for Mookie if you don't read the book Swim. And I've done some book clubs for him. And this book has really helped transform him and his mindset because he couldn't articulate what happened to him. He couldn't really put some thought behind, like, how did he really transform? And so when he met us in the book and got a hold of the Sacred Six and the shark mindset, and his favorite is Sharks Elevate Suckerfish. And that's what he's teaching all of his managers. Man, your job is to elevate the person that you're managing. That's your job, to make them better. Matter of fact, you should coach them so hard that they can take your job. He's opening up new stores, right? So there's tons of opportunity to go around for everybody, right? And so you think about the ocean, everyone gets to eat. Everybody gets to eat. It's a whole ecosystem out there, right? There's tons of fish in the sea, right? And so, I don't want people bragging about me per se, because I'm enjoying bragging about people and the things that we're doing for other people to be successful. But we basically, and here's a thought that's really I think, transformational based on what we do. If you really think about it, in my basketball career, I had somewhere to go. It was a gym. At the gym were basketballs, rims, lockers, weights, trainers, nutrition. It's a place I went to go get better, right? So as a professional, where do people go to get better, to improve, to get stronger, to get strengthened? So everything that we do with our training and development company and our books and our products is a place for people to go to get better. You want to be a better leader? You got somewhere to go. You want to be in better sales? You got somewhere to go. You want to become an entrepreneur? You want to grow your business? We created Peak Performance Huddle. It's a fabulous uh, place for people to go at their budget. So we have some clients that say, "Look, I want all my people, and they'll pay for 100 employees to go through it." Or it just might be an individual and say, "You know what? My company doesn't really invest in us, but I'm going to invest in me," right? So People Focus Huddle to me is like this ocean that we created, that people have a place to go so that they can grow. And if anything people want to say about Walter Bond is like, you know what, I'm here for you. I'm here to help you grow. Because when you get a chance to play in the NBA, man, that's like, I can't even describe how amazing and special I felt. But every individual has their own dream. And I want every individual that comes in contact with us and all of our programs, all of our other coaches to know, hey, we're going to help you live your dream, whatever it is. Like, okay, you want to be a president? We're going to help you reach your dreams. You want to be an entrepreneur and be a millionaire? We're going to help you reach your dreams. All the NBA represents is reaching the top and having your dreams come true. And we're devoted and committed through all of our books and trainings and programs to help anyone who's willing, anyone who's coachable, move different. Because you're not going to come around us and stay the same. If you get connected to anything that we do with our company and our books and our products, you're definitely going to move different when we're done with you.
Well, Walter, I ask everyone who appears on this show, and it only seems apropos to ask you, other than me, what is your favorite kind of shark and why?
You know what? There's a lantern shark. I
Yeah.
don't know if you ever heard of a
Yeah.
lantern
Oh,
shark.
yeah. No lantern sharks. It's not the
The,
one I
the,
would have anticipated you saying, though.
yeah, it's very small, but the thing I love about the lantern shark, it gives off its own light. And to me, I tell people, man, some people brighten up a room when they enter, some people brighten up a room when they leave. And a lantern shark has the light inside of them, and they brighten up the path everywhere they go. And so, as a motivational speaker, that's my job. But I want to encourage everyone to be their own individual motivational speaker. Even if you're not called to motivate millions like I have been, motivate yourself, right? Motivate yourself to be the best. Motivate yourself to go for your dreams. Motivate just talk to yourself. We'll help you, we'll support you, right? No doubt about it. We'll teach you the tactics, right? But the most important thing with the lantern shark is that I love that they create their own light. When people get, as you know, exposed to the shark mindset, we got a video on YouTube with 4 million views. We've had people call us and say, "Man, I got a shark tattoo because of you. I got a shark mug because of you." Because the whole metaphor of a shark, a lot of people never relate it to human behavior. And so the sacred six nails it. And I'm telling you, once people get the sacred six, and after about 12 months, they begin to operate in that place, they have the shark, the ability to move like a shark. Their results are different. Why? Because they're moving different, right? So really, the shark mindset is just a part of our overall training and development system, but it's the perfect place to start. And we got thousands and thousands of social proof that this thing is hot and it's really impactful. And it's not some cute slogan. No, we're really helping people live their dreams.
Well, Walter, it's a special time in the show. Are you ready for the 5 most interesting and important questions that you're going to be asked today?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Number 1, you referenced it earlier, so I got to ask, the GOAT, LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
Man, first of all, I'm disappointed in all of the ball players from my era that are hating on young players. I'm like, come on, man. Like, come on. Like, these guys are great players, just like we were great players in our era. I just don't understand disrespecting a whole era. That's just so ego driven. I could go on and on. I could be Stephen A. Smith on that one. I'm not gonna do that. But LeBron and Jordan, uh, two amazing athletes, two amazing competitors. LeBron's 39, still going strong. So can I just say a tie? Can I just default and say, you know what?
Well,
Those are two of the
we'll substitute a different question for that because that won't have anything to do with it. But I'm side question: who is the greatest shooting guard you ever came up against, not named Michael Jordan?
Reggie Miller.
Yeah,
Reggie Miller, Indiana Pacers. Absolutely. 6'7", thin but strong, never stopped moving.
his
He
ears
had three
had a 7 foot wingspan.
And he had three guys that got paid millions of dollars and set screens. He
Yeah,
had Rick Smits and the Davis boys, Antonio and Dale Davis. So for me, my toughest matchup was Reggie Miller all day long, all day long.
he could shoot a three prettier than anybody.
And he
I
was a
remember
killer.
those days.
He was a
Yeah,
killer.
he was
he
skinny little guy, and he was so good. All right, so
like a
here
shark.
we'll
He never
start over
stopped
then.
moving.
Agreed. So number one will be, because you're from Chicago originally, Chicago food like deep dish pizza, or Miami's cuisine, the general area where you are now, especially the Cuban food.
You know what? I'm gonna stick to the hometown. There's some great food here. My wife has turned me on to plantains and fried conch, things I'd never heard of,
Yeah.
right?
Oh
So
yeah.
so the food down here is very, very different, very unique. It's awesome. But there's nothing like some deep dish pizza from Lou Malnati's.
Yeah.
Oh man, nothing like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love more where we spoke. I had the conch fritters for dinner, but you don't find that in the airport. You find deep dish pizza. So you just know which one's more popular.
My favorite conch fritters were my mother-in-law's. Her conch fritters were the best.
There you go. Number two, better emotional high, hitting a big and crucial shot in a game, or delivering a great and killer keynote speech.
Keynote. Keynote. No doubt about it. Not even close. But here's why. Basketball was for me. I didn't help anybody. You kill a keynote with 3,000 people, 25,000 people, man, you know that you impacted a family, because if that man becomes a better employee, the family wins. If the wife becomes a better employee, the family wins, right? And I talk about family too. If they go home, become a better dad, a better mom, right? A better employee, a better leader, a better boss. There's no comparison to the feeling I have impacting lives versus knocking out a jump shot. ESPN, they can have their fun with the dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. I had one of those. I did have one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's nothing like a keynote. Nothing.
All right. Number three, you're going to Jersey Mike's for lunch. Cold sub or a hot sub?
Hot all day. My favorite sub is called a 99. It's not even on the menu. Trust me. If you like Philly cheesesteak, just go to your local Jersey Mike's and request a 99.
All right. That's great. All right. Number four, your best experience as a player and why. Playing for the Mavericks, the Jazz, or the Pistons?
Oh, wow. Probably the Mavericks because that was my rookie year. I didn't start in college, and so me making it to the NBA was basically a miracle. And my second NBA game, I had my career high. I either had 25 or 27. Second game in front of my hometown audience in Minneapolis, where I played college ball. That game probably was a great moment because the fans cheered for me, even though I played for the visiting team, because they followed my career. I didn't start in college. I broke my foot twice, and here I am scoring 20, 5 points, and they just cheered and clapped for me, and it was a special moment for them. It was an extra special moment for me that I'll never forget.
Did Cuban own the team at the time?
No, I played for a guy named Donald Carter. who sold to Mark Cuban.
All right, number 5, and the most important question that you're going to be asked today: biscuits or cornbread?
Depends on time of day. If it's morning, biscuits, absolutely.
You got to pick
If
one or the
it's
other, though. You can set
uh,
whatever time of day. Let's say this is almost like the last meal on earth kind of question. Doesn't matter when it is.
biscuit, I'd say biscuit because biscuit's versatile. Biscuit can go with breakfast. You can Kentucky Fried Chicken sells them all day. Biscuit, final answer.
Bojangles biscuit is my favorite on the planet. So,
Okay, I gotta go get one.
Walter, where can people find out more about you, get a copy of the book, learn more about your keynotes and your workshops and your masterminds and coaching and everything else?
Yeah, everything's at Peak Performance Huddle. Peak Performance Huddle. It's simple. We created a place for people to go. Like I said earlier, I would go to the gym. That was my place of hope to get better. And we created Peak Performance Huddle for business leaders, speakers, entrepreneurs, HR executives. It doesn't matter. We are experts in helping people move differently, to think better, execute better, and win better. So Peak Performers Huddle has everything you need at every price point. So it's really no excuse not to engage.
Awesome. Walter, thank you very much for being with us today on A Shark's Perspective.
All right. Thank you, Kenneth.
So there was my conversation with Walter Bond, a former NBA player, a Hall of Fame speaker, a business coach, and the author of Swim: How a Shark, a Suckerfish, and a Parasite Teach You Leadership, Mentoring, and Next Level Success. Let's take a look at 3 key takeaways from my conversation with him. First, as someone who is a fanatic, has shark tattoos, and as someone who dives with sharks frequently, you know this kind of stuff is catnip, or sharknip anyways for me. I love the metaphor. And factually, not everything about what he talks about with sharks is true. Like, not all sharks have to keep moving, but we get it. Hammerheads, for example, can see downwards, but to his point, and it's a great lesson, you have got to keep moving forward. We all get beat up with issues in life. I've had my share, and I know you have. If you choose to lock in on the negative, then you'll figuratively swim backwards or even stop. But you can't. You have to move forward because you know that there is much more positive in life than negative. Second, I agree, we all need a mentor. Whether it's your mom or dad or boss or coach, we all need an advisor looking through a lens that we cannot use to see. We get used to thinking we can Google everything for how to do everything in life. As he said, we try to do life by ourselves, and then we underachieve. And a big difference is that a mentor cares specifically about you, and it sure does help to teach you to open your ears and listen. It can move you ahead more quickly in your career, and much more importantly, more quickly in life. And if you want to start somewhere, then the Boys and Girls Club in your local area is an amazing place to start and be a mentor. I've been blessed to work with my local club. I was a mentor for a lot of kids there, but honestly, they did much more for me than I was ever able to do for them. Great organization. Third, of his sacred 6, here's another reminder to recognize that you need to respect your environment. I know that from looking for sharks in the water, and we all know that for why we need to respect our oceans and stop polluting them. Same applies to work and life. And I love what he said about environment. Don't stop until you're a household name in your industry. I know that I won't, and I hope you won't either. Mr. Shark Worldwide, it's coming. Got a question? Send me an email to kenneth@asharksperspective.com. Thank you again for the privilege of your time, and I'm so thankful to everyone who listens. If you're listening to this, you're moving through the ocean differently than any other fish. Then let's keep swimming and join us on the next episode of A Shark's Perspective.